just get to it because, yeah, it is 10 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday. This is football time. I'm not sure. I'm hoping that we'll be getting this out to everybody bright and early,
Yeah.
as soon as possible. It's it takes a little while to get the juices flowing. So, I'll tell you what, Sean. You know what I'm gonna do. I don't know if you've got anything to kind of to to get your morning started, but I think I'm gonna walk on over to my little bench area and uh, and do my little fantasy podcast tradition. Might as well just get started in somehow,
Yeah. I
some way.
mean, we're basically doing like a mock in season situation, try to replicate everything as we normally would.
Yeah, absolutely.
10, 10 in the morning. And I mean, we've had to have done close to 100 episodes at this point. I mean, over all
I
the years we've done this,
I would love to have actually known when we hit our hundred mark
there's
because
no way we're ever gonna know.
no, I don't think so. I mean, I don't even know if we were able to like find all of the YouTube videos because we've made
No,
like multiple accounts that we've uploaded them
exactly.
on. So it's
Too
like,
many email addresses, accounts. Yeah, it'd be too hard to trace it back. But I mean, gosh, I feel like it's been like at least 7 or 8 years,
it's
if
been a
not
while.
more, maybe.
It's def
Yeah, and
it's
there were some years we did like, gosh, most every week, most of the season. So that's 10 to 14 plus weeks.
yeah,
So I'm going to
yeah.
go ahead and say we're right around the 100 range, but this is the first time we've ever done one on a Sunday morning and
Yeah,
maybe even in the morning in general. I don't know.
I can't even think of any time that we've actually done one on a Sunday. So,
I
I
don't
mean,
think so because we'd be like in absolute game mode right now.
yeah.
It'd be all the kickoffs would have just happened and points are starting to add up. So,
hmm
yeah,
So I hope everybody
man,
is like actually kind of ready and starting to get like a little bit excited because we
I
are
hope so.
like right there. We're on the cusp, and the draft's going to be coming on up. Was it week
13 days.
13 days? Okay, and a little less than 2 weeks. Now, just as a quick aside, I did hear that Joey was not going to be able to
Yes,
make the draft, and one of the
that
things
is
that
correct.
was brought up to my attention wasn't necessarily so much as the drafting rules, which obviously we were going to be talking about, to not drafting rules, sorry, the league rules, which we were going to talk about today. But Nick had actually brought up what time do we want to start the draft? And I
Yeah.
guess this was I haven't actually checked or talked with Joey. I didn't know how, what his schedule was going to be, but do you know if he would even be able, like available at any time during the day for to like participate in the draft, or is this something where he might have to do like an auto draft situation? Nick mentioned he might be like flying possibly.
Yeah, it may be depending on what time. He might have to do like a mix of both. I think
Okay.
it's still a little up in the air depending on when we do the draft. I think if I remember correctly, yeah, he's flying
Okay.
to I don't know, like somewhere, Montana or
Someplace.
something like
Yeah.
that. But yeah, I think his flight's at like 3 p.m. that Saturday.
Okay.
So yeah, it could be a situation where he's chilling at the airport and just has the app going and is able to participate that way. But there
That
might
way.
be also time where he can't get on the phone and may have to do some auto drafting. So, funny
Gotcha.
enough, though, this is just a quick little aside. I wanted to tinker with a mock draft yesterday because I've never really done a mock for auction before, and so I
Yeah.
did one in Sleeper, and I was at the gym, so I wasn't really like totally participating, so it auto drafted most of my team.
Uh-huh.
My team was actually fucking sick. I was like, dude, maybe I should just auto draft and not no, but I was just pleasantly surprised by like how well I thought it did. The only weird thing that didn't affect me, but like Christian McCaffrey ended up going for like $81 and like
Jesus.
the next highest player was like 63. So I don't know. That was
Wow.
a little funky, but anyways, the mocks are interesting just to kind of get warmed up in there. But as far as time, I don't know. So Nick proposed in the sleeper chat 11 a.m. at
Mm-hmm.
first, just to kind of like, I think it was, hey, maybe like well, number one, we're all excited just to get the day going,
Yeah.
and then number two, that maybe that would help Joey a little bit too. But
Hmm.
we got already a few people were like, yeah, that's not gonna work for me. Like if we're starting at that time, I won't even be able to like get there by then, kind of thing.
Right.
So I think we're gonna have to start it later. I don't know, but
Yeah.
maybe like 1 o'clock or something like that.
And
Like,
and I'm definitely something where I'm at the place where I would love everybody, every single person, including the people who can't actually make it to the draft, to be able to participate, live. But, the schedules are going to be what they are. Flights are going to be what they are. We're going to have to, like totally work around it. I actually wasn't 100% positive about how even auto drafting worked with an auction draft. So hearing your story about, it actually coming out pretty positive, but makes me feel a little bit better if Joey did have to do something like that, that he's not going to be like, totally boned. Um,
yeah,
and But I do agree that for a lot of the people, like, John coming down from Orange County, Misha coming on, like, yeah, I definitely feel like for the people who aren't coming from out of town and getting in a little bit earlier, yeah, that 11 o'clock might be a
yeah,
bit tough for
early
everybody.
morning. If it's like a if it turns out to be like a 2 hour drive for John or Misha or something, I hear that drive can be a little brutal. So,
Yeah.
yeah, sometime probably after noon does make sense. I don't know
Okay.
why like 1 o'clock is feeling like
I,
a
I
reasonable proposal time,
I think
but
I think that's an
yeah,
okay, like, tentative time. I would. So Joey, if you do get a chance to listen to this, love to hear from you, if there was any time that you thought, if 1 o'clock or would might be able to work, or just again, just don't want to leave like anybody completely out of the out in the cold, like we're complete, forgetting about you. If we can try to make this work for everybody, I certainly would like to, but
yeah,
obviously, can only do so much when we're going on so many different schedules.
yeah.
So
It
I'll
sounds like everybody else can make it from what I'm gathering. Like Misha chimed in that like 11 a.m. would be too early for him. So that kind of gave me the implication that he's planning on coming. Sounds
Mhm.
like John's going to be there. I would assume Nate's going to be there just because
Yeah,
he lives so close. And Will and Phil already are committed. They'll
great.
they'll already be there by Thursday, Friday. Anyways, I'll be there Thursday night. So
Uh-huh.
feels like, and I'm assuming you're going to be there.
Yeah, fuck all you guys. I don't care. I don't care if I won. I'll set it and forget it, and then, like, wake on up on that Saturday.
Might work out.
I had something I was supposed to do today. What was it? Oh, fuck. Got to get out and draft.
You
Yeah,
gotta leave church quickly and get over here.
you know me. Like, of all the members of this league community, I would be the most church going of them all.
Church of
So
420.
yeah. Speaking of which,
Okay,
so
so we'll figure out the like actual time. I don't know. Maybe some people can just chime in, either let Nick know,
yeah.
or just let somebody know like when you think you would be able to be there. It
Mhm.
feels kind of tough. It feels like a tough thing to like get a full on group thread conversation going in a chat somewhere. That just doesn't seem very efficient. But I guess just let us know or let somebody know if you have a particular time in mind,
Yeah,
and we'll get it sorted out.
and see, yeah, the best we can do. And I mean, I think everybody is I think everybody is excited. Everybody wants to participate. Okay, here we go. Finally got the league chat on up. So I'm on the website, and I actually don't know if I might have to go into the app instead. Let me see. 'Cause what I wanted to do is I wanted to take a look at. Okay, here we go. League settings.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm taking a look. Are you looking at yeah, league settings is like kind of roster construction,
Mm-hmm.
waivers, trade deadlines, and then there's scoring settings
Yeah,
beyond
yeah,
that
yeah.
too.
So I see league settings, team settings, roster settings, scoring settings, draft settings, division settings, member settings, co-owner settings.
Oh
Oh,
dang.
damn.
Jesus.
Okay, there are a lot. So, okay, so first things first, I feel like there are a bunch of settings that do not need to be changed. I think everybody is absolutely happy with playoffs starting week 15. Uh,
Yep.
1 week per round. Uh,
Hmm.
Now, are we okay with the higher seeding? I feel like that's always been pretty straightforward. Highest seed plays lowest seed.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I don't know if we've ever changed that before. I'm not sure, but it
I don't
just
think so.
seems to be the most common and normal thing to do.
Oh wow. I can't believe they actually have like this as a setting in Sleeper. Allow players with COVID-19 on IR. That's
I think we
interesting.
did that. We did that
It's yeah,
in
it
2020 or whatever.
yeah, it's on. Yeah, so then allow out players on IR. That's a no. Allow suspended players on IR. No. Allow NA players on IR. No. Allow DNR holdout opt-out players on IR. Wow, I can't believe that they actually have
Yeah.
these
Yeah, they get real
options.
deep with what you can do.
They do. Okay. League type, redraft, keeper, and dynasty. Ooh, okay. So I know that this has been a topic of discussion quite a bit, and it sounds like Nick actually just started a sleeper league, or not sleeper league, sorry, a dynasty league the other night. Um,
Mm.
and he sounds pretty excited about it. And Chris definitely seems to be pushing towards the wanting to do a dynasty after he's been in his for like however many years. Now, have you ever done anything like a dynasty draft in any of the leagues that you've ever been
No,
in?
no. I've only done our league is the only one I've like really spent a lot of time in, and everything
Mm,
else has been like just joining a random friends league here or there when
yeah,
they need an extra person or like a work league or something. So I've
yeah,
never done dynasty, keeper, or anything like that.
yeah. That is it. I feel it would be interesting. I don't know. I don't know if this is going to be I know some people have actually talked about maybe like doing like a second league that would be like, a dynasty league or a keeper league or some sort of uh, combination of the two. I've always been curious, but yeah, I just I don't know.
I
I'd
mean,
like
maybe I know people have brought up, and I know Nick's brought it up recently of like, hey, what if we like did a kind of lightweight foray into some kind of keeper situation, like where we just agree to start that this year, as in for like after this season's over, there might be somebody or some people that we could all keep, but like we
on
know
right,
that obviously well ahead of time. And
right.
I don't know, like maybe that's something we can talk about as a group in person,
Yeah.
like before we do the draft and stuff like that, and just see what kind of appetites there are. I'm certainly open to whatever. I'm not like opposed to anything in particular. It's kind of
Yeah,
fun to experiment sometimes, but I just like people would have to be down for something different, obviously.
yeah, I have to agree. I don't feel like I have strong feelings either way. Like I'm not completely opposed to it, and I'm not completely like all for it. So
Yeah,
I'd be curious just to
that's how
see,
I feel too.
yeah,
Yeah.
what everybody thought. If there would be enough of a push that enough people wanted to try it, I would certainly be down. And I also understand the idea of, not wanting to mess with this and maybe starting something else. But then again, it feels like two leagues is a different conversation than
Oh
just one
yeah,
league. And especially I know we have quite a few people who do multiple leagues all the time,
exactly.
so that
Yeah,
might
for
just be
real.
a little bit that might just be a little bit too much. Okay, I think for league settings, I feel like most of this stuff is all pretty straightforward. I don't think really anything needs to be messed around with too much. Team settings, that's all personal stuff. Okay, roster settings. Here we go. Now, I have been floating around with this for quite some time, trying to think of how we'd like to go about this. So right now, from last year's settings, this is how we had it. It was like one QB, two running backs, two wide receivers.
Mhm.
I'm totally happy with that. I feel like that's kind of the standard format, and I'm okay with keeping that. We did
Mhm.
not have a tight end spot last year.
Right.
We had instead two flexes,
Yeah.
and those had the tight end spot.
Right.
Now, part of me is curious about doing something like having a tight end replacing the double flex with one flex, like a full flex, and then having a second flex as only wideout running back. I, I
Okay.
I like the idea of people not being forced to have to start a tight end. Um, so if you didn't want a tight end, I do like that idea, but I don't know. For some reason, I feel that a lot of the ways that we have, and maybe you know what, maybe my worry isn't so much about the positions, it's the stacking. So one of the things that I felt was tight ends last year were, I don't know what, there was like maybe a handful of tight ends that were like producing tight. I know we had that like tight end bonus and everything like that,
Yeah.
but even still, I feel like there was really only like a small handful of tight ends that were making like big, differences. And then like, for all other 30 or 40, it was just a random who happened to get a couple
Yeah.
catches, who happened to get, a couple touchdowns. Um, like it's I don't know. What is your thoughts on the tight end position for fantasy?
That there's such a discrepancy of like those top couple, and then there's just like everybody else.
Right.
So I mean, there's no wrong answer. Like it just everything just comes down to like, okay, here's the rule. Now what's my strategy within this rule?
Hmm.
So it kind of comes down to like just preference at that point. Personally, I like the idea or how we did it last year, where you didn't have to have a tight end, but you
I
could if
I
you
do.
wanted to.
Now that I'm thinking about it even more, I think I agree. I like it that we wouldn't have to start at tight end if we didn't want to, but I don't like the tight end bonus because
That's understandable.
it felt to me like if you chose not to start a tight end, you know, just that you're going to end up paying for that because you're going up against a player who doesn't necessarily have one of those top like three or four tight ends, but they just happen to have like, one tight end who had not even like a decent game, but with, what was it, 0.75 per like catch or 1.75 or something. It was just,
I think it was, yeah, 1.5 or
yeah,
something like that. Yeah.
that's so strong. That's so strong.
hmm
I'm
I think it like I think it tried to make the tight end position a little bit more enticing,
right,
but I still think it just made the top couple of guys even stronger,
right.
and it's still like I wasn't really interested in messing around with some of those like mid and lower end ones because it's just such a gamble. Like they're just so inconsistent.
Very inconsistent. Like who were the top? Like I always think of like there's
It
the
was like Sam
Sam
Laporta, obviously
Laporta.
Travis Kelsey, Trey McBride towards
Hmm.
the end of the season.
Right.
And then I don't know. Then I think it kind of got a little up and down from there.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of
There
any
was like
other.
Dalton Kincaid was good for like the first half of the season. The Cowboys tight end, I'm blanking on his name. He
Yeah.
was good off and on, but I can't remember anybody else that was like pretty strong. Even George Kittle was up and down, a lot of up and down.
Yeah. Yeah, it's okay. So here's the question. Do you think that there are enough tight ends out there that we would need two flex spots with the tight end? Or do you think like
I
cuz
think
I
that's just you. I think that should just be like you as the commissioner. Like I think you got to make that call on just what kind of vibe or what kind of gut feel, whatever your preference is on that one, because you can just make equal arguments on either
I
side. I
think you're
think
right. Yeah, I think you're right. I will say maybe my big problem isn't so much about the position, it was just about the scoring. So,
that's what to me like just from the last episode we did to today, you've kind of said the same thing. I mean, it sounds like you are trying to get rid of that if I'm
I
just kind
so
of
yeah,
reading your vibe the right way,
eh,
but
what I guess the when I think about bonuses, I really like the idea of bonuses for player effort, not necessarily just for to do the same thing that other people are doing. Like so when it comes to catches, for instance, and I feel like really strongly about this. I don't like the idea of having different values for different positions on catches, if that makes sense. I
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't
definitely.
I don't like the idea of a running back only getting point 0.5, a wide receiver getting 1 point, and a tight end getting like 1.75 or whatever it is. Like to me,
Just more of a traditional PPR
yeah,
or half full,
exactly.
whatever, but it's equal across positions.
Exactly. Like if you got a running back or a wideout and they get 10 catches, like I I want that to mean something. Like that
Hmm.
kid, that person had a good game. They should be, rewarded as such. So okay. I think talking to you about this, once again, I'm okay with leaving the actual positions as they are. So right now, let's go through them one more time. So one quarterback, two running backs, two wide receivers, two flex positions, full flexes, wide receiver, running back, and tight end. We've got
Yep.
no kickers,
Hmm.
so we'll just be running a defense, and that'll be it. Now the bench spots.
Okay.
We've we had been for the longest time running with five.
Yeah, I remember that for a while.
And I feel like everybody really, really, really was struggling and they wanted to push it to six.
Hmm.
However, now I'm kind of the opinion that we're starting to, and myself, I'm also guilty of this, uh, starting to hoard a little bit. Now,
Okay.
so here's my question, and I think you're a good person to ask. As somebody who actively trades throughout the season. Do you find it valuable in setting up trades to be having more of like a pool of players to be like collecting from? Like, so I guess, do you think if you had less bench spots, less players to really be moving with, like each player is now like a little bit more important, do you think that that would hinder you from wanting to do like, trades and everything like that? Or would you be like a little bit more hesitant or what are your thoughts about that?
Mm, for me, I don't think that that would hinder or do anything about my trade appetite.
Okay.
Because I think it's just more of I just kind of like trading.
Hmm.
And I still think no matter what, there's always trade packages that you can put together. Maybe it does eliminate a little of that safety net of putting together those kind of like 4 for 3, like huge blockbuster type trades that go on where you have like your two main trade pieces and then there's like a bunch of kind of like middle tier players that just get packaged up.
Hmm.
But I don't know. I don't think it would really change the appetite for trading.
Okay. Okay. Because I will say that it is something that I think about, like, the idea of people just stacking up players, and then nothing ends up happening with them. I much rather
Yeah.
have an active waiver wire than I do people just sitting on a bunch of players, and then of course you only have so many starting.
Well, but sometimes that kind of goes hand in hand where when you do have that extra sixth bench spot, you can be more active on the waiver wire because you have more places to put your guy and maybe you don't have to think about dropping somebody you don't want to drop.
Yeah. I just do. I guess I do think that the difficulty factor is slightly increased when we have the lesser bench spots because it does make those
Yeah,
decisions more impactful.
it
How?
does. You have to like think a lot more about what you're doing. And
Hmm.
yeah, it can go both ways. Like on one hand, like I definitely don't like the whole like kind of hoarding type deal and it also makes your decision making for your starting roster even harder too, because you have to, it's another person you have to consider putting in or out.
Yep.
But then it's nice if you have injuries, you got more spots to put people. So I don't know. Again, I think it's just like you're the commissioner and you get to kind of choose like what experimentation or whatever
Yeah.
you want to push towards.
Yeah. Okay. That one. Well, all right. I'm gonna come back to that one. That's the. I will say I'm a little bit back and forth on the bench spots. I feel a lot of people would like to just keep the six, and I'm not opposed to keeping the six, but yeah, okay, that's interesting. Okay, so now, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, have you ever actually looked at the scoring settings for sleeper?
Uh, Like, I mean, I look at them, before the season every year just to make sure I remind myself on like, wait, how are things being scoring and or scored and are any positions like, do I want to target certain things based on like bonuses and stuff like that?
So the way they have it set is that you can assign values for different um so for every statistic, right? Like passing, rushing, receiving, kicking, team defense, and others. Oh my
Hmm.
God, special teams defense, special teams players, miscellaneous bonus,
Right.
IDP.
There's a
Oh
lot of
wow.
decisions you could make if you were to go individually one by one and decide what you want to do, or maybe you just kind of have like a thought ahead of time and then you
Well,
go
so
just
this is
make the tweaks from there.
so we are already very familiar with the idea of bonuses and different things like that when it comes to passing, rushing, receiving, right? Like I feel like the ones that we've seen, like I'm on the QB page, for instance, 40-yard completion bonus, 40-yard passing TD bonus, 50-yard TD bonus, right? Like these, I feel like are things that we've seen before. Yeah.
Hmm.
Okay.
Hmm.
What about negative points for being sacked? What about negative points for incomplete passes or positive points for complete passes? Like I can't even believe that like passing first downs. Like what a crazy thing. And then of course if you go into like a running back, you got the same bonuses like, the 40-yard TD or 50-yard TD, blah blah blah. But then they have like rushing attempts for first down. One of the things that I feel like I've always wanted to have for wide receivers is I wanted them to get goddamn penalties, the PIs. Like they should get something. If I get a fucking 40-yard like PI, I want that receiver to get 20 yards or something like that. Like they should get something. They got that. But it's really interesting like the types of bonuses that you can apply. Like you get reception bonuses for yeah, all kinds of different things. Yeah, first down they've got 4 to 5 yard receiving bonus, 10 to 19, 29 to or 20 to 29.
Oh, like
It's
bonuses
weird.
for catching like deep balls and stuff like
Right,
that.
exactly. Like depending on the catch that you got, like you get a 9 to 10 to or 5 to 10 yard catch, you may get, I don't know, whatever the value is that we set. It's really interesting
Yeah.
how kind of tinkerish
Yeah.
that we could get with it. So that is something I'm a little bit curious about. Now kickers, we don't even have. Team defense, I feel, has always been pretty straightforward. Um, yeah, 35 points or more is a -4. Oof. Per points per wait, what? Okay, explain if you can understand what this means. Points per point allowed.
Points per point allowed. I don't know. I'm only looking at, is that for team defense?
Yeah, points per
I'm
point
just I'm just looking
allowed.
at what we had
So yeah,
last year,
so what we had,
and it was like points allowed 0, you get 8 for that. 1 to 6 points allowed, you get 6. Points allowed 7 to 13, you get 3. And then obviously there's negatives if your defense allows more than 27 points. So maybe that's what it's referring to. I don't really because I don't see all the stuff you're seeing.
yeah, I'm gonna see if they have a what is sleeper?
You can get so lost in the sauce with all these
Oh,
different
I
stat
know. It's
options.
fucking
But I don't
crazy.
know. My whole philosophy on this stuff and then bonuses too is just like trying to take a top down, like zoomed out view of like what do I want to get rewarded with, and is there anything I think is worth getting penalized for, and then kind of seeing what options I would have to make that a reality.
Hmm. And I feel like there are a lot of interesting things in here. Like a team defense can get points for like a hit on a QB. Like we already have like stuff for sacks. We already have stuff for
Hmm.
fumbles or fumble recovery. But you can also get points for tackles for loss. Like all kinds of different things. Uh, it's really interesting the amount of flexibility and options that Sleeper gives you. And I guess Maybe because I haven't been a commish with Sleeper before. I don't
True.
feel like like ESPN had any of these things at all.
Yeah, they didn't have anywhere near this level of creativity or detail.
No, no. Special teams player, miscellaneous. Like what's
So
in miscellaneous? Not much.
a
Bonus.
blessing and a curse.
Yeah. First down bonus for RB, wideout, tight end, QB. 20 plus carries, 25 plus pass completions, 200 plus combined rushing and receiving yards. I like stuff like that though. I really do. I do like, and I don't want to go like maybe like ham, but I do like giving little tiny bonuses to players that are going above and beyond. I will say that. So I think there's some interesting, think there's some interesting things to get on into. So I think I might need to just take a little bit of time with this and put it on out there. But maybe I guess to warn everybody, we could be getting a high scoring season. You know what I like more than anything, Sean? I'll tell you
What's
this.
that?
I like seeing those 200s. I like seeing them scores in the 200s. Who was it last year? Was it Nick that actually got up to 200?
Yeah, I think it happened a few times. Not maybe not just to Nick, but there were a few people I think that went over 200.
And we had, yeah, because and we had high scoring, but I feel ah, I don't know. I feel we could get it crazy. Everybody likes points. I don't see how any of us would be unhappy. You know what makes me really unhappy is when I look at my score and I don't even have like 60 points total for like, 10 or 11 people. When you have that bad of a day, like, I don't want people to have that bad of a day. I want people to feel like they're putting points in the board and that they're moving. Hmm.
Yeah, I guess that's like thinking about what kind of like vibe you want to have as far as scoring and bonuses. Like I think a lot of times what we end up doing is we put bonuses for like huge performances because it's like, well, yeah, if your guy stands out, I would reward him for that. But then sometimes it kind of like, it's like, well, that guy's already going to get 20 to 40 points because he had a huge day anyways. And then now we just tacked on like another 4 or 5 points in bonuses. So it's like, the rich get richer in that
Mm-hmm.
scenario. And then there's the another perspective of like, are there any like performances that maybe it kind of goes a little bit unnoticed, where it's still like a good performance that maybe could net some extra reward, but
Mm-hmm.
it's not like the big flashy, like, oh, 200 yards or 150-yard game, or he caught, 15 balls or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
I don't, maybe there's some other kind of performances where it's like, well, this guy only got 65 yards, but all of his catches were for like huge first downs, So it's like, yeah, if you're watching the game on the field, that guy was one of the most effective
Yeah, and
in
impactful.
like a parts of the actual game, but
Yes.
fantasy, you wouldn't really ever notice
Yes,
that.
and
That's another way to look at something.
I do like that kind of an idea. I do like the idea that um the play on the field, regardless of just the statistics, but the situation, like I, I feel like the one thing that fantasy does not account for that actually happens in real football is like momentum and just how impactful some of these plays are. Like they might not
Yeah.
be like a touchdown that wins the game or like just anything like that, but just like you were saying, like hey, maybe a player didn't go crazy on the stat line, but yeah, they were making really key first downs, near the end
Right,
of the
right.
game at the most like important time to make sure that that team like went on to win. And I'm not saying that we should like assign something where they get like, fucking 100 points for doing something like that. But I do like the idea of, yeah, maybe a 0.25 or something every first down, or, like some just little like extra like nudge where, the performance overall is going to land you like, hey, this guy had a really solid game. And I think one of the fun parts is, if you didn't get to watch that player, oh, go into the stats. How'd they get all their points? Oh shit, this guy had a lot of like key first downs. Oh shit, he had, a lot of big catches. Like, I don't know. I think the boat
Mhm.
those types of bonuses might even give you some little extra ways to analyze players, I guess, to like look and see what they're doing on a game to
Yeah,
game basis and who's getting points and whatnot.
it
Oh, those
could.
are all
Yeah.
th
It's
th
all, yeah, super interesting
yeah,
considerations. Like if you're trying to say, I would like the watching the game and the momentum and impact of what actually happens in the game to better reflect the way points are being scored in our
yes.
fantasy league. Like, I don't know how possible that
I
is.
don't know either. This is where this is like the PI thing. Like I really feel that
Right.
like a wide receiver who gets a massive penalty, a PI call, and the offense just marches like 40 yards down the field. Like that is huge. That's so impactful for the game, but like there's no statistic for that. And then
What if, well, okay, because that one's a little tough for me on the offensive side because sometimes you're rewarding points for a ball that he wouldn't have caught anyways,
yeah.
because that happens with PI calls sometimes.
Hmm.
But on the flip side, I don't even know if this is a thing that Sleeper does, but if you penalize the defense for a PI call,
You
if
could
that
do
took away something from
Yeah.
them.
You could I'm not opposed to something like that either because like it is and I would like to be able to reward defenses for like really really good, good plays other than doing like sacks or things like that or I don't know. Man, uh, I will say this, just looking at this, talking to it about you, the scorings are much more in depth than I thought initially. So I think there's going to
You
be
got some work to do here.
yeah, exactly. I actually did go over to the draft settings page though while we were talking and saw that the draft time was not set. So I put a tentative time in there. So we got the 31st, and I've got just 1 p.m. for right now.
Cool. At least
Well,
just nice to see that in the app and get the countdown of the
I think
days and
yeah,
stuff.
I think the clock should be running now. So
Yeah, nice.
so if everybody sees that, that should be going. And I don't think there would be much, if any, or sorry. Let me pull my little bizzle over here. All right. So, do we have any issues with, okay, so on the draft settings page right now, got the time set. We know we're going to be doing auction. Okay. Nomination and offering. Um, right now we just have it set to 30 seconds. Now, if I remember, was this something that we can actually switch live like during the draft? So if we go through like the first few rounds, we have those rounds be longer, and then as the draft goes on, we can start to shorten the times.
I think so. I feel like we did that at some point,
I thought we did
but I
do
also
that.
don't know if we just talked about it a lot.
We
I
just didn't
probably need
even
to
do.
probably need to confirm that with Chris.
Yeah, I
I
think
feel like how the draft like pacing went last year was good. Like it just felt like things moved along appropriately, and I
that.
think it went like 2.5 hours or
Yeah,
something,
dude,
but
that.
not nothing like the 4 hour or
Oh
five
my
hour one
God,
the first year.
that was such a brutal draft. I think we were all like so stoked to like start it, and then like halfway through, and it's just like, I can't believe this is still
Yeah.
going on. No, because
And then Chris like spent all of his money like early on and then just like chilled in the pool for 2 hours.
Yeah, I do remember that. I have to ask you if you can recall who those two players were. I totally remember though him like blowing his budget on a couple.
I can't remember who it was.
I thought that was last year. That was Nick, right? Like blew all of his money on.
No, that was well, maybe Nick did too, but I also did because I got like Christian McCaffrey and Justin Jefferson.
Oh, that's right. And you didn't even keep him. Oh my
And I
gosh.
traded both of them away.
Oh wow. Oh gosh. See, that's just all kinds of fun.
That's why I renamed my tentative team name right now is Team Contraception because I was pull out game week last year because I couldn't get myself out of these crazy high bids.
Well, I guess we'll just see what ends up happening.
Yeah.
Now, okay, so this other thing has got the draft order. Now, I don't feel like the draft order really does matter, does it? I mean,
No,
for
I don't think so. I know we've kind of talked about the idea of like doing some sort of competition or like, I don't know, like a
a
drinking
drinking
game,
comp,
quick
yeah,
little competition just to see who either that sets the order or who gets to go first for a
So
nomination. But
okay,
low
so
stakes, obviously, because it doesn't matter that
yeah, okay,
much.
that's I feel like that's the clarification that I need. Like I understand maybe it might just be an excuse to like play a drinking game, which I'm all for. And I feel like sometimes we don't even need an excuse. We could just like we can all just have fun and play a drinking game. But because it's an auction, like I just don't see I guess I can understand that there's a little bit of strategy to an auction, but I don't necessarily feel like the order of who's going is a part of that strategy, if that makes sense.
It might, I don't know. It might have like a tiny little bit, like, but I'm just totally speculating on like people's appetites and their how they spend their money could be a little bit different in the first couple rounds versus the 10th round or something or the 10th nomination, but it might not. So I don't know. I don't think it really has too much of a difference. But if somebody had was trying to make the argument that the order makes a huge amount of difference and they had a reason for it, I guess I'd be like, oh, okay. And I guess I never
I'll
thought of it
listen.
that way.
Yeah, I'll listen to any arguments. Okay, budget. Are we okay with the 200?
I mean, I felt fine with that. And
Okay.
I think that's also, I don't know. I mean, I guess people just need to speak up if they feel like they want something to be changed. I mean, now we're less than 2 weeks away. Some of these kind of settings, are those like true just commissioner only decisions, or do we kind of like crowdsource
I
those
I personally so
decisions a little bit more?
I okay. I think we've sort of figured out that like over the years and all these different commissioners that I feel like there are some rules that should stay specifically with the commissioners, but also some other decisions that should be, kind of like league wide. Um,
Hmm.
rules like for the season, I do kind of lean on commissioner. Like when Will
Yeah.
won and he wanted to do double quarterback and things like that.
Yeah.
Like I feel like
Roster and scoring,
yeah, I feel like
definitely pure
as more
commish.
pure commish, right? Exactly. When it comes to formats and different things like that, I feel like I start to lean a little bit more on like the league,
I
because
do too. Yeah.
it
Formats like draft settings and
yeah.
then obviously like keeper type stuff.
Yes, exactly.
Like,
All that kind of
yeah,
stuff. I feel it is more kind of like on the league. So I will say this. I thought 200 was just fine.
me too.
I learned my lesson, and my lesson is I need to spend all my money. That was the lesson I learned the first year, and then I feel like by the time I got to the second year, I had almost no money, but still a little bit of money. It's just I always
Yeah.
find it funny at the very end of the draft where there are people who are like just straight up out.
Oh yeah, exactly. And then there's some people that are like they have like $35 left and every player at that point's going for like one or two, maybe three
Yeah,
dollars, and there's
dollars.
no way they're not gonna be able to spend all their money.
Yeah, so it's like I don't I didn't have a problem with 200 last year. I don't feel like I have a problem with setting it to 200 this year.
I mean, I don't know if other people have been doing any mock drafts because if you do a mock from our sleeper page, it just emulates the settings that you already have as far as the it's $200.
Oh,
So
really?
if anyone's been doing any mocks, you're starting to get a feel for what players are being valued at what within that $200 budget. So if you change it to 1,000, all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, like now all the prices are totally different.
Yeah. Huh. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah. I feel like that's okay then to just
If
go ahead
I,
and.
if it, like, we could just do it where it sounds like me and you are fine at 200. We're
Mhm.
talking right now. And maybe we just keep it at that unless somebody decides to speak up and make a case for something else. But if no one speaks up, then this is just what it is.
I didn't know that this was do we want players to be ordered by alphabetically or by their ADP?
Hmm. I don't like ADP in an auction league. Is that based on their like projected cost?
That's a good question. I mean, I would imagine that they would be pulling from their own statistics. But yeah, I don't know if that would be specifically for all auction drafts or if that would be just for like any draft, like, on average, Christian McCaffrey is going number one. I actually don't, I haven't done any mocks recently, so I'm not actually even sure what the average draft order is right now.
And it's just nomination, so there's not really like a
Right.
draft order like there is in a snake. So I'm not really even sure what that setting is quite saying.
I guess maybe it would be saying that as we're nominating players, the players that would be at the top of the list are the ones that are usually being drafted first. Maybe
Yeah, I feel like that's what we've always done. So,
if
like
it's not been set.
yeah, and then
It
you can always search whatever you want, but I feel like it'd be weird if something was alphabetical. Like,
no,
who the
that's
fuck's
that's how
last
it.
name starts with A? Like, I don't
Yeah,
care about that
but
person.
that's how it was set apparently, or that's
Oh,
how it's been
weird.
set. So yeah, so
Huh.
that's why I was just like, that to me is something where I feel that that's like an easy. I'm just gonna go ahead and turn that on. I would much rather, instead of having it alphabetically, I'd much rather have it like those top players are just the first. Like the first round should be exactly that. The first round, I don't want to see anybody putting in some like joke pick that nobody fucking cares about and nobody wants to spend money. I'd
I mean,
much
they still could,
I know,
right? They could still
yes,
look
yes,
up
yes,
whoever they want.
exactly. They still can, but I just like to keep things fast, to keep things like, hey, let's get this rolling. Here we are, top 10. When we open up and look at our screens, the first 10 players that we're looking at are usually going to be those top 10 players that are drafted like across the board. So I think that's
Yeah,
fine.
yeah.
So I'm going to go ahead and get that set. And I think we're okay with the $200 budget. Nomination stuff, I guess we have to figure that out day of.
When we're there, yeah.
I don't like the idea of divisions. I've done it in another
I
league.
don't
It
either.
sucked. It was awful.
I think we did it one time a long time ago in this league.
Maybe I don't remember.
In one of like the first or second year. It might have been the first year when we also had IDPs.
God, what a gnarly year. Yeah, I wish I could see my like team from that year, just knowing that 100% of the players probably do not play in the NFL anymore.
Oh, for sure. 100%. I mean,
It's
that was like 12 years ago.
dude, I think it was longer than that, man. I think it was 2010.
Shit. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
2010, 2011. God damn.
Mm-hmm. Dude, my first quarterback was Tom Brady, and I I remember thinking like one of the last years that I had Tom Brady, I was like, God, I've had this guy, however many times. He's already getting ready to like, bounce out of the league, but he was like him, and I feel, oh gosh, I don't know. Like there's so few players that have that long staying power. Everybody is just like in and out, in and out. Like
Dude,
I
when we did the IDP in the very first season, I
uh,
remember having Brian Urlacher from the
yeah.
Bears.
Oh wow. My power play for that was James Laurinaitis or something like that
Oh, I
from the
remember that
Rams.
guy.
That was he was just a tackle machine. Just fucking killed
Yeah.
it. Um, okay, so moving on from division settings, nothing to do there. Member league settings, who are we kicking out? I
Yeah.
guess that's just a question. Nothing is there. Commission control, that's all fun. Previous leagues, that is cool that we can look. So we've been on Sleeper since 2021.
Oh, okay. This is our fourth year on Sleeper.
Oh, you know what we need? We need to get a team logo. Where's the where? Nick has got this like T-shirt company he's been talking about all this like graphic design stuff. Where's the goddamn logo? You want to make T-shirts for us with all, but you have to make us make like emojis or things like that. Like make something, draw football, and
Oh,
we'll
like a Killa Cali or just
yeah,
whatever, like our league logo.
our league logo. We need yeah, and instead of the NFL, it'll be the what is it the KCFF?
You know what's kind of crazy? Like, so we've had this Killa Cali that just like stuck.
Yeah,
You know,
it did.
whatever, it just somehow stuck. And of all over all these years, I don't think we've ever had a person in the league who wasn't residing in California, actually.
I don't think so. I think every single member that we've ever had has always been. I mean, I think there have definitely been times where, well, no. So even when in the very, very first year, we had people that were in the Bay. Like, because I was trying to
Yeah.
think of who was in that first season that was here in San Diego. Like, so 2010, you hadn't moved back yet, right? You were still in San Diego.
No, the first year I ever did fantasy football, I was living in San
Okay,
Francisco.
so you had just moved back that
Yeah.
year. Okay,
Yeah.
so you would have been up in San Fran. Joey would have been up in San Fran.
Yep.
Um, Now let me think. Jimmy.
Jimmy was up in the Bay Area.
Okay. Sean Sweeney.
He was in the Bay Area.
Who else? Is that it? 'Cause I'm
Like,
trying to think. Who else?
was Misha in the
I
league?
I actually can't remember if Misha was in the league. I think he might have been, but I don't know.
I know. It's too hard to remember every person.
Yeah, I mean, because down here we had me, Nick,
You and Nick,
Derek.
maybe Misha, Derek. Yeah. That's
But
probably it.
wait. What was the first one you said? Other than it was
Misha, possibly.
Misha. Well, wasn't John in it from the beginning?
I think so.
Yeah, John was in it. I'm pretty sure from the very beginning.
Yeah.
Um, I feel like we're still missing a couple people. And I can't, like, we've already mentioned, like, a couple that aren't even in the league. Like, Jimmy Ty, he left a long time ago. Derek was kicked out by Nick for no reason other than,
Yeah. Sean Sweeney just left pretty early on.
mm,
I don't know who else would have been
dude,
there.
that's actually bothering me a little bit that I can't
Yeah, we need
remember.
we need somebody else like Nick or Joey or John,
Yeah,
somebody else
Nick
to
should,
be to remind us.
Nick put it all together, so I would hope that he can remember, like, the original people that he had invited, but. Anyway, it's kind of crazy. Well, I mean, I don't know. I think we've gotten some like pretty good discussions about like a lot of these like different rules
Yeah,
and
yeah,
things like
discussion,
that.
a lot of discussion, pretty much hardly any decision making, but
Yeah.
we've still got time for
I I
that.
I mean,
Uh,
I think a lot
as
the let me
far as
just
like the
say
roster, the roster position sounds like we're gonna keep it the
I
same
th
way
yeah,
as last year.
I think that sounds
You're
about
gonna
right.
maybe tweak up a few scoring, like maybe take away the tight end, bring the PPR back to consistent.
You know what's so funny
Maybe look
enough?
at some bonuses and some other stuff.
I don't actually see that setting. I
It's
don't.
one. I just saw it. It's 1.25
So
for
where
tight ends.
so where did you so where is it that you go to find? Okay, I just found it. I just found it.
Okay,
Okay. Yeah.
the reception bonus.
Yep. Reception bonus, and it's going to be straight across the board for
You're gonna do
everybody.
ones.
Ones.
Yeah, so
Full
classic
point. Yeah,
PPR.
full point PPR. Um, I love how we still have kicking scoring, even though we don't have any kicking. Um, Yeah, no, I think I'll just be looking at a few of the scoring settings, and I think a lot of them are just going to be like the little like fun bonus things, like like we were talking about earlier. Like there may be some things in here that I think could be kind of fun. We can go ahead and just give them a try. Like I said earlier, I really love the idea of lots of points. I don't see how anybody can be upset about seeing more points like showing up for their team. So I guess it's just a question of how easy is it to keep track of. I don't know. So I will take
Yeah,
some
yeah,
time. I'll take a little bit more time today, trying to figure out that and see if we can't get that set. But I'm pretty sure we should be all set, and that should be fun and exciting. Um, and I'm trying to think if there were any other big things that we needed to sort of figure out. I know we kind of had talked a little bit about draft time. And
right.
I guess I would just throw that out there again for everybody. If there was any, um, for the people who are driving down, like, is 1 p.m. Is that going to be like an appropriate time for everybody to get there in time, have enough time to sort of get settled and get set up and give it a shot? Should we, push it later? Joey, or the people that aren't going to be able to either be in town, like, you know, uh, are you going to have to just strictly just auto draft? You just don't have a choice, or do you think that there might be a good time to try to make that adjustment? I think just like you said, Sean, pushing it too early isn't going to work for a lot of the people who are going to be able to make it. Um, so yeah, I'd like to be able to have it so that everybody can participate, but obviously schedules are going to be what they are. So Joey, if you
Yeah.
get a chance to listen to it, throw it out there. Let us know what you think. If there was a good time that you might be able to hop on, or if it wasn't going to happen and we just needed to know that probably you'll have to auto draft or whatever it is. But
Mhm.
yeah, I think we're all set with that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Do you think there was anything else that we should talk about really quick, or are you
I don't
feeling
think
pretty
not
good?
necessarily that we need to talk through. The only thing that's probably just get it going again in the text or the chat is just around trying to do more of a like bring snacks and beer kind of thing, like just to crowdsource more of our drinks and food for the day. Like I think we talked about, we can still order some pizzas and stuff a little bit later, like in the afternoon or after the draft or something.
Yeah,
John maybe thought maybe he's going to bring some sausages again, which was kind of
dude.
nice to like
I'm
kick off the draft. And that's easy. Like those are so easy to grill up,
yeah.
but we just need people to like bring some chips, bring a snack, bring something. Like just don't come empty handed if possible, so that it's not we're not relying on one person to like make a huge grocery run and then collect money from everybody, which is
Yeah,
just really annoying to have
I
to do that.
I would definitely say this. I feel like we've got a good enough community that everybody could and should, want to like bring something for, to like participate, but at the very least, just bring something for yourself, like
Even yeah, that'd be fine too. Yeah, you don't have to
like
bring like you don't have to cook a whole dish and bring it
yeah,
over, but if you brought like a six pack and like a bag of chips or something or
yeah,
whatever, like that's cool too.
right, exactly. It's like, hey, your set might share a little bit. I think last time, like I had just even like goldfishies or different shit like that. Like it's just, hey, don't you be hating on no goldfishies. We got a
No,
lot.
no, just the fact that you're just calling them goldfishies. I like that.
Well, we I guess yes, goldfish would be the plural.
Nah, I like the way you said
The
it.
fishies. Yeah, come on.
Yeah.
Yeah, we want goldfishies. We want. I don't know any other kind of funny name for any other snackies, but we'll just put ease on everything, snackies,
Yeah, some chippies,
fishies, yeah, chippies,
some brewskis.
some brewskis, yeah, absolutely. Anybody want to bring some, you know, okay, never mind. I was gonna start adding it to like drugs and other things like that, but you know what? We're just bring all the ease. There we go.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
Anyway, but I think we've covered like a few
Yeah.
good things. I think we're in the mindset. We're all stoked and ready to go. The fact that it's a Sunday, it's like in like what 2 weeks from now. Like when is the
13 days, baby. 13
yeah?
days.
So when is the first game is what the
Oh,
5th?
it's 18 days from now. There's a website. I forget the exact name. I looked it up this morning, but it's like when is the first NFLgame.com. And it
Oh,
just
nice.
simply it's like the most basic web page that just shows it's the Chiefs and the Ravens. And then, yeah, it just says 18 days and it just counts down every day.
That's cool. That's really cool. Well, we're getting there, and I'm definitely stoked. I'm definitely ready to go. Super excited for the draft itself and being able to see everybody and hang on out. I don't know if people are going to be bringing music equipment on down again or any kind of fun stuff, but I will say the more fun that we have, like the more everybody's going to want to hang out. I know everybody can't hang out for the entire time. For some people have to go home because of wife and kids and stuff. But even still, um, I think it's going to be awesome, and I'm super excited.
Same. Yeah, I can't wait, man. I can't believe it's less than 2 weeks away. And yeah, we'll get everything squared away. We'll see whenever you start making the changes to the scoring rules. That stuff always pops up in the
Yeah,
league chat in the app, so that'll be cool to see when you start tinkering.
it'll be fun. And you know what? We'll just I'll get my little coffee cup with League Tiers written on it somewhere, and I'll just start collecting once we get those settings going. It'll just be wonderful to drink those as everybody bitches and complains at me. Um,
Yep.
so it's going to be, I'm ready. I'm ready for this season. I think it's going to be exciting. I hope everybody else is ready. And I just say a big thank you to everybody who stuck around. Sean, what's the magic number for this week?
What do you mean by that?
You know how we do have like a magic number where we say that we're going to give out a prize to anybody who like listened this long, but of course we never actually do. Although I think you might have actually given Nick some cash
I
for.
did. I Venmoed Nick 5 or whatever bucks that one time where I was like, if you're still here, first person to like text in that they heard it gets $5.
Well,
And
I will
Nick
say that, yep,
immediately
immediately.
somehow was on that.
Well, I think that's because those are like the 2 hour cast or something like this. We're actually clocking in at just an hour, so
Nice.
maybe no prizes or anything. But if you text
Nah,
69,
not this time.
yeah, if you text 69, you're going to be on my good list for sure. Um,
Exactly.
okay, everybody. Well, I guess we'll go ahead and we'll call it for right now. But hope everybody has a good day. Hopefully, this will be on up beginning of the week, so everybody can listen during work drives and everything like that.
Yeah,
Just
and
get
everybody enjoy your last next upcoming your last free weekend
yeah.
before fantasy football just starts to tear away at you as its cruel mistress self will do.
Yeah, she is just right around the corner. And then when she shows on up and her nice like hot like uniform and everything like that and is just strolling along, we're all gonna be like so excited to like go hang with her and then we start hanging with her and we realize how fucking evil she actually is.
14 plus weeks of absolute sheer pain and
Misery.
regret.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But you never know. It might end up working out for you and you might be running commissioner leagues. So don't give up.
Hey,
Keep
let's go.
keep going. But anyway, thank you, Sean. Thank you, everybody. And I guess we will be catching you all when the season's starting.
All right, let's go.
Yo.